Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RAMP, Real Access Motivates Progress, live Wednesday night podcast. You know, when you see this face, we have some great information to give you, and tonight is no different. We are a little off the topic tonight, but because it's Women's Month, we are celebrating women in the trades. So I have two great guests with me tonight, and I cannot wait to share all of the amazing thing that they're doing and how you can get involved. So welcome, ladies, and thank you for being a guest on my show.
Thank you.
I am so excited to have you guys tonight. So we're going to start off with having each one of you introduce yourself and what you do. We're going to start with you, Anita.
Hi, my name is Anita Bruno. I am a 15-year union carpenter with Local 330 here in Rhode Island.
And Janine?
Yeah, my name is Janine Jagir Gagnon. I'm a retired carpenter. I worked many years as a carpenter. Came in early in my career in 1995, 97, I think, yeah. So I've been retired for the last few years. I'm now 71.
Oh, wow. You don't look a day over 29. I am so excited to talk to you guys about the coalition that you guys have started, the group you had started. Anita, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, thank you for asking. So Rhode Island Women in the Trades was established in 2019 as a support group for women in the trades and to organize women all throughout Rhode Island to give us a voice and kind of like a sisterhood to mentor each other and be there and support each other. And just recently, we have established a female pre-apprenticeship program.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear a little bit about that. But what I want to ask you, Janine, is explain what the trades are, because some people have their own ideas of what the trades are, but what are the trades that are included?
There are many trades included when you talk about construction, and with renowned women in the trades, we even do non-union. So it's not just union trades, it's all the construction trades, and we want to support women in whatever non-traditional job that they do as women. So we've opened it up a little bit more than just the union trades.
Can you list a couple of them so people know exactly what we're talking about?
Yeah, there's laborers, electricians, iron workers, there's sheet metal workers. It goes on and on. There's quite a few trades. There's
Plumbers,
bricklaying, plumbers, yeah, you can add
operating engineers,
operating,
teamsters.
yeah.
Yeah, so when people think about the trades, they think mostly construction. So to let them know that there are more than just construction in this trades, that it covers all of women. And what is your goal? Why have this? Like, what is the goal?
Do you want to answer that, or should I answer it, Anita?
You can start us off.
Okay, the goal when we started Rhode Island Women in the Trades is to have a place where women can come together and feel connected and supported, and where we can come and just vent our frustrations sometimes, because a lot of times on jobs there are very few women. Sometimes I was the only woman on a lot of jobs. When I started out, and shortly after, it was the Providence Place Mall, and that was a huge construction project. And so on that job, that you got to see more women, but the number of men was overwhelming. And so it's just a nice place to feel supported and to feel like, okay, I can keep going.
Yeah. Anita, anything to add to that?
Oh, I think Janine said it beautifully. but just yeah, I can add a little bit. I think that it's a um sometimes women feel alone because sometimes you are the only woman on the job site. And some things that you could be going through, like for instance, if it's that time of month on the job, right? And um carpenters, we have in our contract female bathrooms, but other trades don't. So they get worried, right? So what if I use the porta john and I have to keep my pads or my tampons in there? Everybody on the site's gonna know it's me. And certain just little things like that that we have the safe space and we can talk about it and we can share fun war stories like, oh, I went through that, or when my pants ripped on the job, or just kind of those things to make sure that they know that they're not alone and that we've probably been there too.
I'm sure there's some stipulation too of moms on the job, that may have little kids or whatever and, time off or whatever. Does that cause a problem to women when they're on the job?
Mm. So that's a childcare for non-standard hours is a big issue and obstacle for women on the jobs. I was paying the $200 a week for my son's childcare for the longest time, and then also had to pay an extra 50 for early start, and had to be at the child care center at 6:30 in the morning when they open the doors, like with my son in my arms, like hurry up, unlock the door, so I could get to work by 7 o'clock start. So it is a big, big issue. And then to think about it, it's not only for women. There's some single dads that are in, I know personally that are in the carpenters union, that suffer the same stuff. So yes, it is an issue.
Yeah, so making it okay for women is going to open it up for you. You're right. The single dads out there that have to go through the same thing that don't want to, voice it for the most part because of whatever reason to not stand out. So really, by making these laws equal, they're working it for everybody.
Yep.
Janine, what are some of the most biggest obstacles out there for women in the trades?
Um, when I was in, it was the late nineties, and after that, I retired just about 5 years ago. Um, but back then, it was unusual to have women want to be in the trades, and so you had to go through and try to get on people's good side, so that they would teach you. And it wasn't easy. And I had made a promise to myself that I would not quit. I got laid off a lot, and sometimes I was the first one to be laid off of a job. That was, and sometimes I didn't understand the whole process. So I because I didn't have an apprenticeship program when I started, so I didn't have all the knowledge that some of the people start with now. There was no pre-apprenticeship program then. The apprenticeship the carpenters do have an apprenticeship program, but you learn mostly on the job.
Yeah.
And sometimes,
Anita, have any of that changed a little bit even now?
So the push for apprenticeship changed. So if you go through the apprenticeship, the national push for apprenticeship is a lot better than it was. So there's a lot more structure, there's a lot more federal regulation. But as far as the job site's concerned, it's let's take equal pay for example, right? A carpenter is a carpenter. So whether you're a male carpenter or a female carpenter, whatever year you are, you're going to get paid the same. But there's a difference in overtime hours. There's a difference in um, moving up the ladder, becoming foreman, becoming stewards, becoming safety. And then, so there are barriers. There are still barriers, yes. And then there's certain other barriers as far as harassment, and making sure that people understand that harassment is not just sexual. If you're made to feel uncomfortable on the job, that is harassment. So when men are telling you, hey, you stole this job from one of my brothers, or this isn't the line of work for you. You should be home barefoot and pregnant, or um, the countless things that they could say to make you feel uncomfortable. And those are issues. And then the fact that some women are told, even to this day, that it's a man's trade and you got to have thick skin or tough it up, or this is the career you chose. So you have to deal with it. So sometimes it's amazing to see such microaggressions laughed off by females, not really understanding that it is an aggression and it is a form of harassment. So those things still exist today.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, anybody can do anything. It may look different, it may not be the same, but like even I in 2020 was swinging a sledgehammer, knocking down walls of my Habitat for Humanity house. I was putting together floors and walls and learning electrical and, caulking my backsplashes. You know, I didn't know what I was doing, but I had the guidance of Habitat for Humanity. But do you have people of disability in the trades?
So I personally haven't seen any, but I have heard and I have friends that have told me, there's I think a female carpenter out in Boston that only has one arm, and they say she's a beast. She can hang with the rest of them. So I think that um, there should be a push for disability in the trades, with a understanding of what their capacity is, right, and what they can and can't do. So we wouldn't want to set them up to fail, obviously, but to make sure that we know there's a whole bunch of different trades. So there's a whole bunch of different things that people could do.
Yeah, because I know in 2019, I spent a lot of time at the steel yard and they do iron pour and iron forging. And every single square inch of the steel yard is wheelchair accessible. We had made it completely compliant. So if I can do pottery and jewelry and woodworking and iron forging and public projects, I pretty much can do anything in the trade as long as it's adaptable and I can reach it and I can get to it. I welcome that. Janine, do you think that, everybody should be welcome? Like, how would
It
you
would,
tell a man to change his mind to why a woman should be in the trades?
um, you, it's hard to tell a man, anything, they dominate, and, it's like the trade has become, very male, I'm very short. I'm 4'10", and it was really hard for me to compete with men, doing sheetrock, screwing it in because I needed a ladder for the high spots, and they could just reach up high especially if they were tall. And so it took me twice as long to do things than it would take them. And they're in the trades, they're always concerned about price and profit, profit comes first. And so if you can't do it fast enough, or, then you get put, you get pushed aside or laid off. So it's very, very difficult, a job, a lot of times, it's, there's trash all over the place sometimes, they try to keep it clean, but when you're working, there's, you're cutting sheetrock and it goes all over the place, and it's not, you don't always pick it up right away. So, a job site is not, it would be, I can imagine, especially in the beginning, it would be hard for somebody who was in a wheelchair to be there, but anything's possible, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, I welcome the challenge. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Anita, tell us a little bit about the pre-apprenticeship program. And that's a tongue twisters, and I got it all out right. So
You did good. You did good. So I'm super excited about the pre-apprenticeship program. We have been working on this for a year and a half, and dreaming about it for a little bit before that. It's going to be an 8-week program. We're going to house it at the Jocelyn Recreation Center, which is in the Olneyville section of Providence. It will be a whole bunch of hands-on construction math, empowering, to give women this, not only the skills, but the confidence to see themselves in this career. We're going to have some tradeswoman speakers. We're also going to have a couple of field trips to the Carpenters Training Center for one. And then we're going to do a lot of hustle. We're going to be stretch and flex every morning. We're going to do a boot camp for 1 week. So just exercise, 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 how to hustle, but teaching you how to lift and carry. So Janine mentioned something about being a little bit shorter. And sometimes you get overwhelmed with that. But it's not about what to do, it's about how you do it, right? So if you see a sheet of sheetrock in front of you, you think overwhelmed, right? I can't do that. But you can. It's where you put your hand to leverage the weight and how you lean it on your shoulder so you can do it. And just teaching them those kind of tricks to the trade. And then also being a support system on any obstacles, such as childcare, such as transportation, and to work with them on those instances. And then to be in the union, you have to have your high school diploma or GED. So we've partnered with GED specialists to make sure that that is available for them if they need that as well. And then having the organization established, this is my favorite part. Because we've already been established and are established, we meet 4 times a year for our support organization. That gives these women a lifetime of support and mentorship, and a sisterhood to go forward throughout their entire career.
That is amazing. How can people sign up, and who is your target audience for that?
So you can email me at Anita, ANITA, Bruno, BRUNO, 330 at gmail.com. We are in the process of building out our website. We do have a Facebook page, RI Women in the Trades. And our target audience is, I want to say, any woman that is sick and tired of being sick and tired. If you're tired of working 2 jobs to make ends meet, come into the Rhode Island Women in the Trades pre-apprentice program. Let us train you for a skilled trade, construction. And one thing I wanted to clarify, you mentioned earlier, construction is a whole bunch of trades. Carpentry is what usually people think of when you say construction, but it's made of a whole bunch of different trades. That is the construction industry. So with that being said, the construction industry offers such high paying wages plus benefits. I want people to understand the benefits of benefits. Having a medical and dental benefit, having a vacation plan, having a 401k or an annuity attached on top of your pension is a wonderful thing to shoot for and to look for. You may not think about it right now, but when you become 70 years old and retired,
Mhm.
you want that income coming in that you are comfortable, that you have become comfortable and accustomed to making. So the benefits of benefits is great. Right now, the carpenters just got a raise. In Rhode Island, we're at $40 an hour. So that means after a 40-hour week, you're bringing home over $1,000 a week after taxes. And then let's not forget overtime. With the carpenters specifically, and I speak about them a lot because I'm a carpenter and that's my specialty of my knowledge, although I have a little introduction to all the trades. And when you come through the program, there'll be different tradeswomen to ask different questions of. But the carpenters specifically, it's in our contract that our overtime is after 8 hours. So if you work 10 hours in one day, those 2 hours after the 8 hours is time and a half. So not only you're not making $40 for those last 2 hours, you're making $60 an hour for those last 2 hours. And you don't have to do a 40-hour work week to get that. If we get rained out on a Thursday and a Friday and I don't make the 40 hours, whatever I did after that 8 hours is still my overtime pay. So there's just so many wonderful opportunities within the world of construction. And then not to rant, but let's not forget President Biden just signed that infrastructure bill. So that means trillions of dollars for construction. And there's not enough people to fill the workforce. So we want women that are in dead-end jobs. We want women that are tired of working two jobs to make ends meet. We want women that want to work one job to make a good pay, to be able to take care of their families. We want to give women the opportunity for financial stability and hopefully creating generational wealth, plus having some skills to go along with it.
That's awesome. And give that email again and how they can get in touch with you.
Anita Bruno 330 at gmail.com. That's ANITA BRUNO 330 at gmail.com.
I just
Thank
threw
you.
that into the comments. So if anybody watching and listening could just click on that in the comments and it will go right to her. What we need to talk about though is what kept the world going when COVID closed down. Most of the trades did not stop. Actually, when the more people stayed home, the more house improvement that they did. They built decks, they fixed the stuff that wasn't, when they're out most of the time during the day, they said, oh, we can put it off until later. But when they're home all of the time, they're like, I want to fix that annoying leak. I want to fix my deck. I want more things. So being a woman in the trades or anybody in the trades, when the world shut down, the trades did not. Janine, can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I wasn't working then, so I was retired.
Oh, Anita, want to talk a little bit about that?
Thank you. It's interesting that the construction workforce were essential workers. They still got up every day and went to work 7 to 3:30, and they still did overtime. Construction did not shut down, especially in Providence. There was all the bridges being done, that 610 connector, all of that construction that you've seen every day. They did not stop. The hospital construction going on right now in Hasbro Children's Hospital, they did not stop. So it just maintained, they kept going, and they were trying to keep the world running, trying to keep everything maintained. Let's not forget about maintenance workers, right? Let's not forget about RIPTA drivers. Let's not forget about public works department. Every city and town in Rhode Island has a public works department. Electric boat. Let's not forget about Providence Water Supply, bringing us our drinking water. Those are all non-traditional jobs, and they stayed running just to keep us running.
Yeah, so when you get out of high school, you don't have to worry about the 4-year college, or you don't have to do that to make good money, a good living, and provide for your family, is what we're trying to tell you, that there is another alternative that's going to keep you working, that's going to keep you running. And this pre-apprenticeship program is going to be a perfect way so you can learn a lot about all of the different trades, so you can pick and choose which one would be best for you down the road and what you most would be happy to do for the rest of your life. Janine, how did you decide on going into the trades way back when? What was your motivation?
Well, my motivation back then was to make good money and not have, most female jobs, but, even now, they don't pay very much. And I didn't want to work at that time. I wanted to support a family. I was a single mom and I wanted to make a little bit more money. And so I tried the trades. I applied to different ones, and the carpenters are the first ones that took me. So I took I became a carpenter.
Yeah. Anita, how did you decide on your trade?
It was similar. I had the luxury of going to a pre-apprenticeship program out in New York City called Non-Traditional Employment for Women. But it took me a few years to find it. I was a waitress my way through college, single mom, tired of working as a waitress and sweating all day and standing on my feet all day for tips. And some days, some days you made good tips, some days you didn't make. And then if I'm in trouble, I get the bad shift. I have to work like a Monday morning, and I was making like $25, maybe $50 a day in tips. And, it wasn't really cutting it. And somebody told me about that pre-apprentice program, and I joined, and it was the best thing I ever did.
And just think, if you're in a pre-apprenticeship program and you take this path, you don't have to worry about hiring people to fix your home. You can fix your own home. And you can save a lot of money there. So not only are you out and about making good money, you can actually fix up your own home and save a lot of money. So it kind of works on both ends. I like the way to think about it that way. See, I just have friends in construction so they can come and help me out at my home. That's the way I work.
Miss
But tell
Tina,
us
can I
about the
mention?
conference on the 24th,
I just want to
Anita.
mention something that you said about college first. I went through my apprenticeship program with a female that was also going through nursing school, and after the carpenter's 4-year apprenticeship, she was a journeywoman carpenter and a registered nurse, debt free. So don't think that if you come into the trades, then you can't go to college. Think that if you come into the trades, that will pay for your college tuition. So when you graduate college, you will graduate debt free. I just wanted to make sure we highlighted that. The 24th, I'm super excited about that. There's a lot of us ladies that have been planning it for a little while. It's to uplift women in construction here in Rhode Island, and Women's History Month is the best time to do that. It'll be virtual, and we have some great, great guest speakers coming. We have the Women's Bureau, the Federal Women's Bureau, the regional from Boston. We have the Office of Federal Compliance. The Lieutenant Governor has confirmed. And we have Kelly Nevins, who is the CEO of the Women's Fund. And we also have Brett Dickens, who is the Director for Career and Tech Education in Providence. And we have some great information that we're going to share. We're going to talk about women in labor history. We're going to talk about the umbrella of construction, such as the trades that Janine was mentioning. So folks have an understanding that construction is not just carpentry. We're going to talk about the hierarchy of construction, understanding that boots on the ground when you come in as a carpenter, that's not the highest you can go. You could be a safety person, you could be a superintendent, you could be a foreman, you could be a project manager, you could be an engineer, you could own your own construction company. And then we're going to talk about women's empowerment. Yes, you can, seeing yourself on the job. We're going to talk about the importance of women's leadership. And then we're also going to lead it. We're going to end off talking about what the future of construction should look like. And we have a couple of females from Providence Career and Tech Academy that are going to lead that conversation. So it's going to be jam-packed with a lot of information. We're going to be doing breakout rooms to keep everybody engaged and talking about the information and just sharing ideas. And I'm just super excited.
And how can they get in contact with that? Is that email you or go onto the Facebook page?
They can do either. They can also go on your Facebook page. The flyers are all over the place, and there's a QR code. And all you have to do is press the link on the QR code. It'll light up and it'll bring you to an Eventbrite registration. And then the night of, we'll probably just post the Zoom link personally. So if you want to go on the Facebook pages, you'll find that as well.
That is amazing. Now I'm going to ask you both the same question. So the one who has to go first, I'm sorry, but I'm going to pick one of you to go first. If you had to tell the young women of today why they should go into the trades, what would be your pitch? I'm going to start with you, Janine.
I would say it's a career that's a big challenge, and if you like challenges, you know, this is a big challenge. And there's something about driving down the street and looking at a building and say, you know, I helped to build that. And there's this real sense of pride when you do that, you know, and it brings back all these memories of all the people that you worked with to make that happen. Because, you know, building something concrete that you can see is amazing, you know, and you don't do it alone. You do it with a lot of other people. And, you know, you'll learn a lot. You'll learn more than you'll ever know. And it's a great experience. And, you know, you don't start out making $40 an hour, you know, as an apprentice. You move up. But as a journey person, you make, you know, that's how much you make. And that's after 4 years of apprenticeship. But it's a great feeling to be able to work with your hands, to feel strong, to feel like, oh, I did that. You know, there's this real certain sense of accomplishment.
Oh, I like that. That is a great one. Anita, I'm sorry for you now. You have to go after that.
It's funny. I'll feed off of Janine. I love bragging rights, and my kids are so tired of hearing, "Yes, mom, we know you helped build that one." Yes, mom. Every time I go by, I'm like, "I helped build that." Yes, mom, we know, we know. I love it. It feels so good. Um, I guess the biggest thing I would tell the youth is that the money is good. And if you want a chance to be able to be a homeowner and pass skills on to your kids and do side work and build your own deck in your yard and build your own fire pit and, just be your own person, and you don't need a man. And it's good if you want one or your significant other, whatever your choice is, but you don't need them. You don't have to have them to be able to live life. Just that independence is what drove me.
I think that's such a great plea for both of you because it just goes into something that I always like to say is you don't have to follow the path of everybody else. If everybody in the world was the same, we'd live in a very boring world. That following a different path or following your own path and doing your own thing or doing something out of the norm. I mean, there are so many people, I included, was not a book studier and did not want to go to college for the longest time because I didn't want to study things that I was never going to use. I didn't want to put the effort into that when it didn't interest me. But as soon as something clicked, and I was interested in it, I gave it my full force and everything that I had to making it work. And that's the point. You know what I mean? You don't have to go to college to find your path because there's many, many students who drop out either after the first or second year, or they graduate with a degree and go into something else because it's not what they wanted to do for the rest of their life. Where this is something that will benefit you. And if you change your life's path afterwards, you still have these skills to do your own stuff or side work on the side. So if you choose another job and that for some reason shuts down because, of a global pandemic or something, you always have this side work to fall back on. So there's always good and bad in everything that you do, but I agree with you. The accomplishment and knowing that you did something, because I'll tell you, I feel that pride every time I roll into my house because, my son is sick of hearing it. I built that. I painted that. I broke that wall down. I rebuilt that wall. You know what I mean? Like there is a sense of pride, but when something goes wrong, they're like, yeah, you did that. And now there's a hole in it. But and when I run my wheelchair through it again, I know how to patch it. So I'm getting good at that. It's all good, and it's such a good thing all the way around. Anita, can you bring us through the actual path? Because I've been hearing the word journeyman and pre-apprenticeship, and tell everybody like the actual path so there's no confusion.
So each union has a different path and has different eligibility requirements. The most common is they want you to be 18 years or older. They want you to have a GED or a high school diploma, and you have to be able to pass a drug test. Different trades require different things. The electricians want you to have a 70 in algebra. The Teamsters want you to have a clean BCI. The I think the operating engineers, you might need your CDL for. So there's different eligibility requirements. But once you get in, again, each apprenticeship is different. The carpenters is a 4-year apprenticeship. If you're interested in being a carpenter, they hold information sessions at their training center in Millbury, Mass, the first Monday of every month at 6 o'clock. So all you have to do is show up. Just go there, be there for 6 o'clock. We say 5:30. Get there at 5:30 because sometimes it gets packed. So be there at 5:30 in Millbury, Mass, at the Carpenters Training Center, and sit there for the information session and listen to the things that they tell you about carpentry and what it includes and what it entails. And if you're interested, fill out an application.
That's awesome. So like something like plumbing and stuff like that, they would take a different path, correct?
Yes, each individual union apprenticeship has um, uh, their own process. So the carpenters is a 4-year apprenticeship. So when you start off, you're a first year apprentice. You have to go to school 1 week I think they just changed it. It's 4 days now. So 4 10-hour days. So you could still work that Friday and get that 1 day check. But 4 times a year, you'll be going to school. And you have to go to school. School is very important. That is one of, there's not many ways that you can get kicked out of the union, but not going to school is definitely one of them. So you have to go to school. And then school gives you the book technicalities, but most of your learning, as Janine said, is done on the job site. And then as you go to school, you get your periodic raises. You get 2 raises a year until you end up at the 4th year when you journey out and you at that max rate. Um,
That's awesome. So what's the average apprenticeship? Like you said, 4 years for carpentry. What would you say around plumbing or electrical? Is it a longer period of time, do you think, or do you not know?
I think electrical is 5 years. Plumbers, I'm not sure of specifically. So it'd be about between 3 to 5 year range. Most of them, yes.
Now, Janine, when you were going through that, did you have to, they didn't have the apprenticeship program. How did you learn along the way? Did you have to go to some kind of school along the way as well as they did, or how did it work out back then?
Well, there is the carpenter apprenticeship program, and so even if you sign up to be a carpenter, you're still going to have to go through that apprenticeship program. The pre-apprenticeship program that we're doing just gives you a sense of, trying it out, trying out the tools, going, getting through the place where it feels like I can't do this to the point where, yeah, I could do this, So that pre-apprenticeship program is a good place to get the sense of, this could be good for me, and otherwise, you learn it on the job. You have to find somebody who's there. Sometimes they're older than you, sometimes they're not, and some people will teach you, they'll want to teach you because when they retire, they want somebody to know the job that they do. And some people, have an attitude and they don't want to teach you anything. You have to find those people that will teach you on the job. And the school, it's book learning and it's on the job training as well. You get to do things and there's an instructor there and, you go through the books and doing it at the same time.
Okay, I'm going to ask you both the same question. I'm going to start with Anita this time. So Janine, you get a break. Although I don't know if you're going to want to go after Anita. We'll see. What is something when you were learning and you were going through the process, something that really had a hard time for you to learn, like something you just didn't think that you were going to catch on to and then it just clicked? What was that for you, Anita?
I guess rigging. Rigging was the hardest class I took. It's not a mandatory class, but it's a class that, they offer a lot of classes at the Carpenters Training Center, which is a great thing because you can learn all kind of things, even if it's not something you do every day. But they advise you to take a lot of extra classes to make you more versatile, more employable. So rigging is very, very math heavy. You have to figure out where the centrifugal force of an object is that you're gonna pick, or that the operating engineer, the crane is gonna pick. And then you have to learn the hand signals and how to communicate with the operator. You have to watch the pinch points. You have to learn how to tie the knots so that it doesn't slip out. So that was really, really hard. And then I studied really, really hard. We had a really good instructor. And then they made me wait like 2 weeks after I took the test before they told me if I passed or failed.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. But you got through it, something so hard and you got through it. Janine, what was yours?
Oh, there's a lot of things I feel like I had a hard time learning. There's some place that I think I was scared on the job, and there was some place that I feel like I couldn't take in some of the information. So that got hard for me. Um, and sheetrock was hard. Getting, you know, holding the sheets, because my arm width, when you carry a sheetrock, you're supposed to bend at the elbow, and my arm length, I can't bend because the sheets are 4 feet wide.
Oh,
And so
geez.
so it's hard, so I don't know, everything about sheetrock was hard, the framing. There's some place I couldn't quite get it, and people would tell me, do this, do that, and so they would tell me what I had to do, but there's some place it couldn't sink in,
Right.
and um like the seams are supposed to go together, and after a while, you know sometimes I got confused about things.
You said earlier, and I loved it, that you said that you would never quit. Was there any moment during your journey that you wanted to quit?
Oh yeah, many, many times. And the first time I got laid off, I started crying. The first few times I got laid off, I cried. And it's like people felt bad for me, and I couldn't stop the tears from coming. I just, it was I'd never, I've always, stayed on a job, and I cried, when I got laid off, and I just felt so bad, and they felt bad too, but that
What
was it.
was it that kept you going?
Oh, I would walk and go to work and pray like that I could make it through the day.
That's
And there was just
awesome.
this determination, like, I'm not going to let people tear me down or break my spirit. And it's like, if I get laid off, I get laid off, but there'll be another job coming that the union will send me to. And if,
Oh, I love that.
they can let me go, and but I stayed close to the union, and I always went to union meetings, so they were, they looked after me too. And the thing about the union too, I was the first female that was elected to office in Rhode Island, so I'm very proud of that.
Yay!
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. And I'm going to ask you the same question. Was there anything that you just said, that's it, I'm done, I do not want to do this anymore? And what kept you going?
Um, I got to give a little bit of kudos to Janine for one more minute there. She was the first female on the executive board in the trades, and she was very instrumental in getting the female pornography, female calendars, female um, magazines out of the job sites, off of the Johnnies, off of the gang boxes. That was all Janine. So all women in Rhode Island, Janine, thank you. Thank you for being the trailblazer that you have been. I
Yay!
really appreciate you.
Thank you.
So for me, yeah, there's some days I love the job. And I love that the jobs are always different, right? You're always working yourself out of a job. So I could be on a bridge in Cohasset today. I could be on a bridge in Westerly tomorrow. I could be in a building at the Garrahy courthouse parking lot the next day. So there's always different things. So it's different scenery, it's different jobs, which is amazing. But just um uh the lewd comments and the derogatory manner of some of the men on the job makes me wake up sometimes and be like, do I want to deal with this? And and the weather. Um
Mhm.
if I'm building a bridge and it's 100 degrees out, there's nowhere to hide, right? There's no shade. The bridge is not up yet. So you're in that sun beaming. And then if it's snowing, you're out there. If it's raining, they got to give you rain gear, but you're out there. We're like the post office, rain, snow, sleet, and hail. We're still out there. So those are the two trickiest things that make me get up in the morning. Like, do I got to go to work today? But then I think about my paycheck on Thursdays, and I get up and I go. And by the time I get to work, I'm back into the groove. I like it.
That's awesome. I love all that. I want you to quickly, while we're nearing the end of the hour, give a quick recap and where they can get in touch with you for the pre-apprenticeship program and the conference on March 24th. So remind everybody about those two events so we can make sure people sign up.
Thank you. And I can't believe an hour went by so fast. You can get in touch with me, Anita, Anita, Bruno, Bruno, 330 at gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook, Anita Bruno. RI Women in the Trades is also on Facebook. If you happen to be a Rhode Island Works recipient, ask your caseworker. We are partnered with them, so they will have that information as well. And we launch March 28th at the Jocelyn Rec Center in the Olneyville section of Providence, 17 Hyatt Street. So even if you want to come on down and check it out and ask us questions and see what it's all about, come on down and do that. We'd be happy to have you. The event, March 24th, is at 5:30. That will be virtual. I'm super excited for that. We have so many guest speakers there and we have so much information to share. We want to empower you. We want you to know that you can do this. And you can find that on my Facebook page or on Miss Tina's Facebook page.
And if you can't remember any of that, you can always contact me or message me, because these two ladies are not only my colleagues, they are my friends. So if I can haunt them, I can give you the contact information so you can haunt them too, because they would welcome somebody else haunting them other than me. So if you, like I said, you can message Ramp and I will get you in contact with Anita or Janine. But I can't thank you ladies enough for taking the time tonight to sharing all of this with all of us and empowering women to do something and take a different path and try something new. I am so excited. So thank you both so much for doing this.
It was such a
Thank you.
pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. This podcast will be all over all social medias, on my page, on their page, on every page, and on my website, rampisinclusion.com. And again, I can't thank them enough for being here tonight. But I want you to remind you all to come back next Wednesday. We are talking to the Coalition to End Homelessness. You all know that homelessness is near and dear to me, and I want to make sure that I get as many homeless people safe cover and shelter. So next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. live right here on Facebook and all of the social media apps. We look forward to seeing you. And as I always say, don't just sit there, make a difference. Have a great night, everybody. See you next week.